Bonjour to everybody across Canada. My name is Léa-Jeanne Bégascon, and this is my brother Thomas. We are grade 10 students from Des Rives High School in Terrebonne, Quebec.
We are members of the LSF's Green Job project, and our team's topic is traditional knowledge and how Indigenous people are affected by climate change.
First, Des Rives High School is located on the Kanesatake territory of the Mohawk Aboriginal Nation of the European linguistic family. We feel a deep gratitude for the Indigenous peoples who inhabit these territories and who have given us so much for the past centuries. Their presence has shaped this territory where our society thrives today, and that's why we are so grateful.
To continue, this project was particularly important for the members of our group because we want to inform the people about the climate change emergency that affects our world. We also want to inform them that Indigenous peoples who have respected our territories for so many years and who have sacrificed so much for us are now watching us destroying the environment powerless.
We believe that greener jobs will help the situation. This project will help people all around the country with their environmental issues, and that's why we are doing it.
The future will be ours sooner than later.
Bonjour, hi everyone. I'm Kayla and this is my partner Andrew Lewis. We are grade 10 students from Ecole Des Rives in Terrebonne, Quebec. Today, we are here with you to talk about how climate change affects the world and more precisely our future jobs. In order to do so, we will be interviewing two experts who know a lot about traditional knowledge and climate change adaptations.
Our first guest is Dr. David Pearson, a retired professor at Laurentian University in Sudbury, where he taught earth sciences and science communication. In the past, he has hosted the science-oriented TV shows on understanding the Earth and Down to Earth. He was also the first director of the Science Center in Sudbury, Science North. Ms. Kejick is a First Nation woman from Asapisho-Siwagong First Nation, which is a part of Treaty Number 3. She is currently serving on the Sustainable Development Advisory Council for the city of Kenora and is assisting in the development of the climate change impact assessment with the province of Ontario. Geneva is also a member of the Federal Sustainable Development Council of Canada.
Can you explain how your community is affected by climate change?
For Treaty 3, we actually have 28 communities. So all of our communities have been affected by flooding, forest fires, and severe winter storms. So usually when these things happen, our communities are evacuated. Unfortunately, there are no safe centers in our First Nations. So the most community members, and that would be the vulnerable community members, sometimes have no choice but to stay in the community without the resources that they need.
I'm sorry to hear that. And what can all Canadians do to help with the challenges these communities are facing?
The local municipalities, unfortunately, do not have enough resources to accommodate their surrounding First Nations. So Canadians can maybe volunteer to be host homes to help provide a place for these families to go during these events.
What would you say are the biggest challenges faced in addressing climate change adaptation in Indigenous communities?
Fire and flooding. The communities are built, they have been built on land that is surrounded by forest, and forest fires are one of the increasing risks in all of Canada, not just Northern Ontario, because of warmer summer temperatures, drying the ground, making the leaf litter more flammable, And the increase in summer precipitation is so small that it's not enough to counter that increase in the evaporation. And furthermore, summer storms, violent summer storms are becoming more frequent, and lightning and dry forest ground is a recipe for an increase in forest fires. The evacuations are not just for fire, not just for the flames, they're for the smoke. And people with asthma, elderly people in communities, can't go to the kind of centers that Geneva was just talking about, sort of refuge centers. The First Nations just don't have the sorts of sophisticated, small scale community technology which is available in southern communities. That's an issue. And flooding is an issue because it was so easy to build homes on flat land that was close to lakes and rivers. And it turns out that many of those areas are floodplains and are regularly flooded. That's a big issue as well. And that means moving houses. It means lifting them up, physically moving them to another, to higher land. And that's costly. And First Nations don't have budgets for that.
Do you believe that bringing science and traditional knowledge together is the key to finding a solution for the climate crisis? If so, has it already been tried or at least considered?
So the BRACE project, of course, brings Western science and we mix it with traditional knowledge. So something we've done is went and interviewed elders in all of our communities and then used that knowledge and mixed it with Western science to come up with the plans of adaptation. We created reports for our First Nations, and then partnering with David and the Laurentian University team, we came up with adaptation.
What can Canadians learn from Indigenous people feeling a connection to the land? And how could this connection help all of us address climate change?
Indigenous people have always lived off the land, so I think seeing the land as something that's living, like we call the earth our mother, so living off the land, caring for her. So it's like building that connection, more of a personal connection, because all of our spiritual activities, of course, take place on the land. There's pows, there's sweats, there's hunting, there's gathering. So our traditions are reliant on the resources that our mother gives us. So that's one way that I think Canadians would help improve taking care of us, seeing everything as living and something that we need to take care of and really preserve for future generations.
Knowledge that First Nation people have is so important. Look at the world as your home, and look at all the creatures that are in it as your family members. And that gives you a very different way of looking at the world and looking at issues and participating in making decisions. I think one of the most important ways of looking at the future for young people is to imagine what jobs they might take. There are still coal mines in Saskatchewan and Alberta. That's not part of Canada's future. There are new careers out there. There really, really are. And somebody now could look for a job in the geothermal equipment. And if what you've got in mind is a green career, look for the chance to have a summer internship, or to take on a part-time job. You can pick those little steps along the way, right from when you're in high school. There are all sorts of small opportunities. When I look back on my career, it's the little decisions that I made that built up in the end to the big consequences, if you like, to be able to be a professor and so forth. Look for a chance to be on a committee and build the credibility so that when you put your resume together for applying for a job in a green sector, they say, boy, this young person has really committed. Show your commitment. and don't get hung up on exactly what job. Just go in the right direction, go in the green direction. You know, Kayla and Andrew, you can use your voices, not just to interview people like Geneva and me, but to go to your city meetings and say, we want to know how you in your community plan to reduce greenhouse gases. Are you going to make buildings more efficient? Are you going to change your fleet from gas-powered cars to electric cars? Use your voices, and you, I think, are the most important voices for the future. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.